The big story making international headlines for you now. Elon Musk may be in hot water for attempting to pull out of his $44 billion deal with Twitter. Musk is citing violations of the contract for the about turn. The South African-born billionaire agreed to buy Twitter back in April, you might remember. That move sparking widespread reaction. Without providing any details, Musk has been taking to the platform for weeks now, saying that he's worried that there may be more spam and bot accounts on the network than Twitter is willing to admit. To react to this dramatic turn of events, let's speak to My Broadband's editor-at-large, Jan Vermeulen, who joins us via our video link this morning. And it's great to see you, Jan. Thanks as always for making time. And it really is another twist in this prolonged saga, isn't it? Did you see it coming?
Yeah, this was one of the likely outcomes. Elon Musk had been making noises in this direction for a couple of months now, saying that he does not believe that Twitter is reporting its user numbers accurately. Twitter is saying that around only 5% of its user base are fake or bot accounts, and Elon Musk saying he thinks, I don't know, thumbsuck, it's about 20% or more. And he wants to see Twitter's data. How are they getting to this 5% figure? And if they don't present data, then he's essentially going to argue that they're in breach of their agreement, and he will no longer be buying the platform, at least not at the price that he's offered. And so, yeah, that's led to all kinds of speculation about, why he's looking for an excuse to pull out of the deal. Did he suddenly realize he's offered too much? Or is there another reason that he's perhaps decided to pull out?
Yeah, because it does seem like he's got an about turn, has grown cold feet for all kinds of reasons. For one, do we know what he's basing his figures on? I mean, how is he getting to his estimation that these bot accounts are around 20%?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like a feeling, and based on his own experience. Now, in fairness, I'm, for example, looking at a story posted by Business Insider this past week about the fact that Elon Musk has quietly fathered twins with a staff member. You scroll down and then you hit the point where it's just spam. It's just a bunch of fake accounts accusing him with various amounts of misspellings to try and get through Twitter's spam filter, that he's a sex predator, that he's a pig, it's just various ways of misspelling or capitalizing sex and predator and Elon Musk that they get through the spam filter. And these tweets have been up since 7 July. Now, Twitter is saying that they delete 1 million spam or bot accounts a day, but these ones are still there 2 days later. So how are these obvious spam accounts getting through? And so it raises questions about the accuracy of what Twitter is saying. And so one can't help but wonder if Elon Musk doesn't have a leg to stand on here to say the data you're providing about your fake accounts, just from everybody's experience on Twitter, something isn't adding up. Give me the data so that I can look at it myself. And so now Elon Musk and his team are arguing that Twitter has either ignored his requests, or where they have met his requests, they've given him unusable data. And so they're holding Twitter in breach of the agreement.
Fascinating. I suppose you've kind of already answered this question, but it's worth asking explicitly. If Elon Musk is right, why is something like that a deal breaker for something like this? Because we do know that Twitter is still relatively powerful. Some people might argue still the most influential platform on social media.
Yeah, so it comes down to Elon Musk is a businessman, right? So if he can get something for cheaper, then why not? But also, if he's going to pay something for an asset that just that is not worth what he's paying for it and might never be worth that amount of money, right? So now we're sitting in a situation where we're seeing tech stocks around the world collapsing for a variety of reasons. And so he and I would assume his financial advisors could be looking at this and going, you have drastically or offered to overpay for Twitter here. It might never be worth what you've offered to pay, which means that you get saddled with an asset that you potentially can't sell or can't grow into the valuation that you've given it. And on top of it, if you look at sort of a per user figure, it's a kind of very rough estimate, but if you go, you are paying X dollars per user, and it turns out that half of those users are fake or bots, then you've overpaid by even more than you might have. But yeah, there's so many factors here. I mean, Elon Musk offered $54.20. Now that 420 thing, as anybody who lives on the internet knows, is a nod to marijuana culture. And so you can't help but wonder if Elon Musk wasn't serious about this from the beginning. And then another thing is, he started off as a self-proclaimed free speech absolutist. And, going, Twitter must be an advocate for free speech. And then, to softening his stance drastically, saying that what he means by free speech is what is protected under United States law. And that's a far cry from being an absolutist of free speech to going, no, I'm only in favor of what's protected by law. And so there's really a lot of conflating factors here. I think the business side of Elon Musk has come out, and maybe he kind of started to realize that he's bitten off more than he can chew, that managing a public service or a public speech, freedom of speech platform is not as easy as he might have initially thought it to be.
Those sympathetic to Elon Musk might be asking, well, why doesn't Twitter just release the data, for crying out loud, unless they have something to hide?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and they might have something to hide for good reason, and one doesn't know what those reasons are, right? So it's easy to jump to conclusions, but there might be very good reasons why Twitter doesn't want to share some of the data, and the bottom line is that Twitter itself might not know. And so, Twitter could release just like a stream of raw data to Elon Musk, but that's useless. So now it becomes Elon Musk's problem to try and figure out what's real and what's legitimate, when Twitter, as a platform, should have been the one building that infrastructure to figure out what is a real user and what is a fake or a spam user. And so it certainly does raise questions, but I stop short at leaping to conclusions.
Yeah.
There could be good reasons, or it could be that Twitter itself just doesn't know.
Yeah. Look, I mean, there's a few things we don't know, and I know you're not a legal expert either, but it's worth asking you this question. Can Elon Musk actually pull out of this deal? And I guess what underlies that question is, how much of this deal is actually reversible, if any part of it? If you and I were to purchase any other product, for argument's sake, and we sign on the dotted line, one presumes that in that moment, whatever issues there are with the product that are not contained in this contract, well, that's kind of your loss.
Right. So we have certain Consumer Protection Act protections in South Africa, but none of those things apply when you are buying a company. And so there's a clause in the contract which says that if he backs out without good reason, then he needs to pay Twitter $1 billion. And so what's going to happen now is this thing is going to land up in court in the United States. It's going to be interesting to see how long it's dragged out for. But effectively, the court is going to have to decide who's right. Is Twitter in breach of its contract, or is Elon Musk in breach of his contract? And if Elon Musk is found to be in breach, he's going to have to pay Twitter $1 billion. If Twitter is found to be in breach, then Elon Musk will be able to withdraw from the deal without paying the $1 billion penalty. But that's what this is going to come down to now, is a court fight to figure out who is actually in breach of this contract.
And with no irony at all, we'll be tweeting about it in the interim. Jan Vermeulen, thanks very much indeed. Great to speak to you as always. Jan is editor-at-large with My Broadband.